Introduce yourselves, tell me what you look like.
Yes, my name's Harry, I'm 17, I'm doing level 1 motor vehicle and I did engineering last year. I'm wearing a black Red Bull jacket, Adidas pants and some Nikes.
My name's Alex, I'm 17 years old as well. I'm studying politics, Welsh second language and history at A-level. I'm wearing a navy blue Northup Hall Hockey Club jumper, some Calvin Klein black joggers and some black and white Nike shoes.
Okay, so I'm Yvette Mellalieu. I am your mum.
Yes.
I have quite longish blonde hair with my roots that need doing at the moment that are a bit grey. My hair's curled today for the occasion. I am wearing a very bright dress that is bright pink with like blue and neon green, sort of like tiger stripes really, or zebra stripes on. And I'm wearing some long tan high heel boots.
So I'm Faye, I'm 34, I'm short stature with short blonde hair, blue eyes,
Yeah.
wear hearing aids, can't really see them.
This documentary is about disabled empowerment. It's about showing that even if you have a disability, you can do anything you put your mind to. And when it comes to it, it doesn't matter if you're disabled. If you're watching this as a disabled person and you take anything from this documentary, please know that you are good enough, good things should happen to you, and you are an incredible human being. This documentary also tells you about my ultra-rare disability, what I have dealt with over my life, and everything in between. Welcome to Strategically Undervalued. So, what did you first think of me when you first met me?
I thought you looked lonely. So it was year 7, I remember. First day of high school, you were with Mr. H. Shout out Mr. H, love you so much. Amazing TA.
Yeah.
Love you, Grandad Harvey.
See you soon, mate. But you were just with him and you didn't have any friends with you. So I said to my mate Orlando, I said to him, the girl in the wheelchair over there looks really lonely. Shall we go over and speak to her and make friends with her? And that's what we did.
Yeah.
And then you joined us a few days later.
Yeah. I was a bit nervous and I was a bit shy, but obviously I shouldn't have been because you're a really lively soul, and on behalf of me and behalf of him, I think it's safe to say that we both are quite lucky to have you in our life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
One of the best decisions I've ever made was going to speak to you.
Oh.
You're a really good friend. So.
Oh. What do you feel when you see ableists in the wild when children are staring?
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Shouldn't be
Because
happening.
I suppose with children you can sort of understand it. They haven't developed a filter. They're just curious. They sort of are wondering why you look different to them.
Yeah.
And it's not anything like them thinking it's a bad thing. It's just them thinking she looks a bit different to me because she's got a wheelchair. Whereas when it's an adult, it's like that same adult wouldn't go up to a black person and make derogatory comments, or go up to a woman and make derogatory comments and stare at things. They'd just be wrong, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So why should it not be wrong for people to do that to disabled people?
I mean, it's like the quote, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be happening at all.
We sometimes meet up at a local cafe. What do you think this does for my independence?
It's amazing,
Yeah,
isn't it?
same here.
It's nice to see you out and about on your own. You used to come with your mum a few times, but then now you come round on your own.
Yeah.
And it's like we were used to. Obviously, we've all gone separate ways in college because we do you two different courses. I'm up in the sixth form,
Yeah.
so we don't see each other as often anymore. So we haven't really seen each other while you've not had a TA. So it's nice to see you being a bit more independent, going about on your own. Just even going to Sainsbury's on your own. It's just really nice to see that you're getting there with it.
At college, it's great for my independence as I get to do everything I want to do. What did you think of my independence when I was in high school? Since coming to college, has this level changed?
you always had a TA with you. You weren't always allowed to go to certain places, and you always had to have that person with you. Whereas now in college, like you just put, and you put it very simply, you can do whatever you want. You can literally just go around, hang out with friends that you know, and you can, you're free. You're
And it's like
free.
as well, I remember, I think it was the start of year 9, Mr. Hardy retired. I think you should have been given that option to either carry on with the TA or go and be independent and go about on your own, because obviously by that time you knew the school, you knew where you were going, you knew where your lessons are, you know the people, you've got your voice, you've got your horn on your wheelchair, you've got ways of getting places independently. You don't need that TA. They were only with you for the first couple of years to like help you with the lifts and to help you get to the lessons, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah,
But in
there
the
were
end,
some
it ended up being
problems.
that you had them from year 7 to year 11. And I remember towards the end of year 11, you were saying you didn't want to have that TA anymore. You wanted to be independent. It was like you were ready to take that step.
Yeah, I definitely was. Yeah, 100%. And lastly, give me your perspective of my condition.
I don't actually got
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know about you, but like we haven't really spoken much about your condition, have we?
over the past few years we've known each
Well,
other.
we've known each other 7 years now,
Yeah.
and the most I know is what it's called, and that you have an infusion once a week. So, what actually is your condition? Like, what does it do?
So my condition is MPS for Morquio's disease, and what it does is I'm missing an enzyme in my body, which most people have, so like you two probably have it, that break down the waste in your cells. And obviously I'm missing that enzyme, so if I didn't have my man-made enzyme, which is my infusion every week, then all the rubbish would congregate. It's like not putting the bins away straight away.
Right.
You know, that's all of that rubbish would pile up and pile up.
And then it just
Overfill.
and
explode
then
out the bin.
explode. Yeah. So that's what would happen in my body if I didn't have my infusion. So my infusion takes the bins out as such.
So has
Yeah.
that affected your height as well then?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
facts. Everything in my body. So my height, the way I walk, literally everything except for my brain. So literally everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it life limiting or?
Yes. Yeah, it is life limiting. But I think because I've had so many surgeries to help aid the life limitingness, you know, I've had a
To prolong
tracheal
life more.
yeah, my tracheal resection that cut down my trachea
Yeah.
to make it Gracie size.
I did notice a difference after that as well. I remember
Yeah.
you going for it, and when you came back, you could breathe a lot easier.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because before it was like you were struggling to breathe, a bit like when I have an asthma attack, it sounded a bit like that.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like, you can't hear it. It's
No.
nice. It's nice to see that you're breathing easier again.
Yeah, it's really good because hopefully that, I'd like to think that that will kind of push back the life limiting, so
Yeah.
to kind of get it away from me a little bit more. But yeah, I think with the infusion and with the operations that I've had, it will definitely aid that.
It's been lovely talking to you.
Yeah, it's been lovely to
Thanks
have
for having us
you
down.
here.
Nice to see you again, sir.
You too.
Hope to see you again. We'll have to go to the cafe again soon.
Yeah, we will.
It's been so long.
Yeah, we will.
No, definitely will. Definitely will do.
We'll definitely have to. How have you learnt to deal with having a child with a disability, and how has this been for your life?
Wow. Okay, so very good question. So how have I learnt to deal having a child with a disability? It's a case of having to deal with it, I think. You haven't had a choice
No.
because obviously when you were born healthy, in inverted commas. And we didn't think there was any issues or anything. You were just going to lead a normal life, and then all of a sudden we're told that you've got this disability, you've got an ultra rare disease, life limiting, So yeah, it's going to change your life completely. It turns it upside down. So it's totally changed my outlook on life. I'm a totally different person now to who I was before you were diagnosed, because I've had to fight for you for so long. Your dad and I both had to fight, and it makes you a stronger person. It makes you a more confident person. So it's changed me a lot in that way.
Yeah.
And changed my life. What was the other part of that question? Just remind me, Gracie, please.
How has this been for your life?
So yeah, I suppose it goes along with what I've said, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's not made it worse, it's made it more enriched, I think, because the people we've met and the experiences we've had, we wouldn't have had if we'd not been disabled. So certainly can't say it's been a bad thing.
No, definitely not. What was your first reaction when I was diagnosed? How did this feel to you to know that your child was not only disabled, but also has a condition which not many people know about?
Yeah, it was really difficult because I wasn't expecting to hear that news. I don't know what I was expecting really when the consultant phoned me up with test results, but I hadn't even heard of these conditions, so it certainly wouldn't have been this life-limiting disease called Morquio disease, MPS type 4, I'd never even heard of it. So it was a big shock. It was a massive shock.
Yeah,
I think I probably felt numb to start with because I didn't really know how to deal with it. I didn't know what to feel, because I thought, well, your life is not going to be what I thought it was going to be. You probably, I did think, what sort of a life is she going to have now? Is Gracie going to be able to live a life? Is she going to be able to hold down a job? Is she going to get married? Is she going to have children? Is she going to have any kind of life? I didn't know. I really didn't know, because I didn't know what this disease would mean for you or anything. So it was really, really scary. Scared for you, scared for us as a family, scared for how we might deal with it all and how you would deal with it all and how I was going to tell you. And yeah, it was really, really hard to hear what the condition was and hear about it and what that meant for you as well. So it was a scary time. But I think already by then, even just hearing that, I had to immediately build up a strength and think, right, well, we've got to deal with whatever this throws at us now.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think otherwise you'd just wallow in it. So we had to think, we've just got to turn this round now and see, okay, what can we do and what can Gracie do with her life?
Yeah, of course. How did it feel with me going into surgery only a few months after diagnosis? How did you explain the operation to me at the time and at the age I was?
Yeah, because you were only young.
Yeah.
So you were diagnosed at about 3.5 possibly, and then you were nearly 4 when you had your first operation, which was a life-saving operation that you needed, which was a spinal fusion. So it was really scary for us to be told, A, that you had a life-limiting illness and a disease, and B, that you needed this life-changing surgery because of that, because your neck hadn't formed properly because of the condition, and we knew that you had to take a piece out of your skull and, basically weld it with the top of your skull, the top of your spine, underneath your skull, just to hold everything in place, which to put a little 3-year-old through that massive operation, then we knew you'd have to wear your halo frame for 3 months or whatever afterwards, and that was massive. I think we just told you had this special spine because they'd told us that your spine wasn't, stable, and we thought it's the best way to tell you, because you couldn't go on trampolines at friends' houses, you couldn't go on bouncy castles, anything that might jolt you. We were terrified if we pushed too much on a swing, or if we'd have had a car accident, it would have been worse than normal, because you could have been paralysed or worse more easily. So we just said to you, you've got a special spine, so you've got to be careful. And you just seemed to, I think because you trusted us and you'd met the medical staff and you trusted what they said, you just went with it and you just accepted it. And you just seemed to know that you needed it to be done. So that made it easier for us, the way that you handled it as well. Even at such a young age, you handled it so well.
Yeah, definitely.
Big operation, really big operation.
Yeah, it definitely was.
And you've had another 10 since then.
Yeah. Yeah, I have actually, yeah. Good point. How do you think I am with my disability now? Do you think I am more understanding of certain things because of my disability and the surgeries I have had so far?
Yeah, so the first thing I'd say is that your disability definitely does not define you at all. You have a disability, you're not a disability. And you're just not. You just push the boundaries all the time. You're so independent. You take yourself off shopping. You make phone calls here, there and everywhere. You'd be like, oh, Mum, I've phoned to apply for this job today, or I phoned the doctor's surgery to get this prescription today. And you just go and you just do things. You're just absolutely incredible. So I think the fact that you've got a disability, a lot of people, if they heard you on the phone, they wouldn't even know.
No.
It's only when they see you that then they'll realise, oh wow, actually she must have a disability.
Yeah.
But you cope with it so well. You just get on each day and you've got such a good outlook on life. You're so positive. And I think your disability has enabled you in a way to be like that. It's shaped you. But also I think you already had that in you anyway. You were always going to be positive and happy, and you're so loving. You love your family, love spending time with your family and your good friends, and you've got a lot of love to give.
Yeah.
And I just know now that you're going to go far. So are those worries that I had at the beginning when you were first diagnosed, I think now, wow, probably the opposite, to be honest. Because you're so much more determined to go out and enjoy life and do what you want to do. And I just know you'll do it and bucket loads more. And you've just got this magnetism that draws everybody to you. You're just amazing. I just love you loads.
I love you too.
Good.
Oh, that's all the questions.
And that's all the questions.
That's all the questions.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in today.
You're very welcome. It's been my pleasure.
First question was, how old were you when you were diagnosed? And if you're comfortable to share, how were you diagnosed?
So I was 2 when I was diagnosed, and it was after I'd had the cervical fusion. I think that was sort of like a bit of an emergency surgery. So they did that, and then set about trying to find a diagnosis. So it was shortly after that surgery.
Oh wow. See, I was diagnosed when I was 3, so you were younger. You got a diagnosis. Yeah. And I was diagnosed in the May on MPS Awareness Week, which is so weird. And
oh wow.
Yeah, and I had the cervical fusion in the November. So it was like that kind of time before I have it. But that's really interesting.
Yeah. So I think the first time I met you, you must have not long been diagnosed. I think you were 3.
Oh, was I? Oh, right.
I think so. And you were wearing a neck collar thing. So I think you must have not long had the surgery.
Maybe I was like 4, but like new to being 4 as such. Because I turned 4 when I was recovering from that surgery. Because I had it at the beginning of November on fireworks day, and then obviously my birthday was the end of November. So
okay.
I was 4 when I was properly into the recovery stages as such. But yeah, that's really interesting that you got diagnosed so early on. That's really good. Do you remember a time when you started to understand the extent of Morquio?
Probably when I started secondary school.
Yeah, probably.
I sort of started to notice that I was different to my friends.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, from being so young when we were both diagnosed, obviously we wouldn't have known anything about Morquio at that point anyway.
No.
Because we would have been so young to kind of understand it and stuff. But yeah, I was probably in secondary school as well. I think it was like more like year 7, year 8, or like the back end of year 7. So I kind of understood a little bit more.
Yeah, it's probably maybe towards the end of primary school, start of secondary school.
Yeah, definitely. What do you feel is the best thing and the worst thing about having a disability?
I think a lot of the things that I've achieved, I probably wouldn't have done if I didn't have a disability.
Yeah.
So, like going away to college at 16, and so moving away from my parents at 16. I came back, but moving away at 16. There's just been lots of things that I've done. So I went on a holiday with a charity to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
When I was 13, and I probably wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have a disability. So yeah, there's been quite a few things. And I probably wouldn't be in the job that I'm in now if I didn't have a disability. Because most people don't know what an occupational therapist is.
No, exactly. No.
So I think if I didn't have a disability, then I would probably be one of those people.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't work in like physical disabilities.
No.
So I work in a residential home for
that's
adults with
lovely.
learning disabilities. But I obviously use my own personal experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite nice to be able to use that personal experience to help others and stuff. Yeah. I think that's really cool.
I was never sure whether it would be a hindrance or a help having a disability and doing the occupational therapy course. One of my lecturers said it would be a help, definitely. And it was difficult to get a job because of my disability, but yeah, I love it. So glad I did it.
Yeah, I'm really happy for you. So how do you cope with the ableism we receive on a day-to-day basis? Has ableism got better or worse as you've got older, in your opinion?
Well, I like to think it's getting better.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not so sure. I think in terms of getting jobs is one thing. I think it took me the best part of 2 years to get the job that I'm in.
Oh my god.
And I was turned down quite a few times. And they can't say that it's because of my disability.
We all know it is. Yeah. Then there's I think the ableism comes from more older people, like the older generation, and maybe younger, obviously younger kids.
Yeah,
they can't really help it because they're just curious a lot of the time. But then the older generation haven't really learned that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely comes from them ages more. Obviously there's the old time where it's younger people, 20. So Morquio affects us all differently, obviously. How does it affect you?
I suppose obviously my height. I think I'm not as active as I used to be.
No.
And I could walk more, but everywhere I go, I need the height of my wheelchair. So I just take my wheelchair everywhere because it's just easier. So yeah, now I've got my own flat and I could walk more around the flat, but I just need the height of that chair. So
yeah,
it's a bit frustrating. But I know that keeping my mobility up is important. So there's that. And I do get tired at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so sort of get a bit more pain.
Well, that's the end of the interview.
Okay.
Thanks for joining me.
That's all right. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been nice having you. Have you
Okay, see you soon. Bye.
Action!
Hey, I get to say action. I'm the
I find you
director.
say action then.
Action!
There you go.